Okay, Dr. Nagella, welcome. Okay, I think we are streaming. Okay, did this thing, okay, we are streaming. Are we streaming?
I hope so.
Yeah. Okay, we are streaming. All right.
Oh, did you say Dr. Nagella is there?
Yeah, Dr. Nagella, you want to turn on your video?
Can you see me?
No, we can hear you, but we can see. Okay, now we can see. Look at your beautiful face.
Oh, no.
How are you doing, Dr. Nagella?
I'm doing
there she is.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Wow. Long time no see.
I know, a long time. It's great to see you.
Okay, people.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
She stopped the recording.
No, I did not. Wait, hold on.
Says the recording has stopped.
No, it should be recording.
Okay.
I did not stop it. Wait, okay. Let me, I don't
You
know.
indicate when it's time so I can start because I'm not.
Yeah,
okay.
I'll let you know. I'll let you know.
All right.
I thought this thing was, I'm still, trying to master this thing.
Yes.
I'm not a IT.
Technician.
We need IT help.
Yeah. Oh, Dr. Nagella, how's your part of the world?
Oh, we're doing well. It's just a very nasty day today. It's been raining all day.
Oh, it's raining there too? It's been raining here since last night. Yeah. Okay. Went to church in rain, came back in rain.
I know. It's been horrible. But we
okay, we are live now. We are live now. So.
Is it time to start?
Yes.
Okay. This is Africa Online. Africa Online on Africa Online Media Corporation. And today, Sunday, the first day of December, we're getting ready to go. So it's another Sunday, and it's also another month. It is December. In our topic today, Thanksgiving festivities, healthy lifestyle, and how not to gain weight during the holidays. In order to gallantly tackle the elephant that this topic represents, Dr. Tazong-Fomundam and others, especially Dr. Nagella, requested a sequel so that we can tackle that elephant in the room. To do so, we put forth this question: what does Thanksgiving mean to you? Is it just about eating turkey plus everything else under the sun? Is it about giving back to your community or blessing the less fortunate? What is Thanksgiving all about? Tell us how you plan on spending Thanksgiving. That was last Thursday in a way. And so Africa Online Media Corporation invites everyone to join us this afternoon to talk about Thanksgiving, eating during Thanksgiving, eating during the holidays, and maintaining your weight. Are you a Weight Watcher? Do you believe in your weight? Do you want to be a broomstick or a bomber tree?
Oh, Lord.
Iroko tree in Africa, or bomber tree, as we call it in Pidgin. That is what we are talking about. So how should our meal times, how should our meal times, yes, what we eat and how we eat it be consumed, be taken into consideration? Does eating what we eat during the holiday season affect our efforts at losing weight? So please join us this afternoon, this Sunday, the 1st of December, to tackle this topic, to discuss the pros and cons of eating too much or not eating at all, watching your weight or not watching your weight, being you or not being you, and of course, living your life the best way you can. That said, here we go with the editorial. And I will begin, as usual, in my usual way, with a few things here and there. But I think we'll start right away. It is another Sunday. It is another moment to get on Zoom, cue in on Africa Online Media Corporation, and kick off another discussion. And as we already know, our topic this first day of December is Thanksgiving festivities, health, and how to not gain weight during the holidays. The holiday season hit the road this past Thursday in North America, that is, with Thanksgiving, that fall holiday that also signals the start of the shopping season. December 1 is the 335th day of the year 2019 on the Gregorian calendar. December 1 is also the first ever World AIDS Day. And after today, we have just 30 days until we begin a new decade, that is 2020. A new decade that already promises to begin with challenges, what with presidential elections coming up in the United States next November, what with what I'm hearing through the airwaves about that other parliamentary and council elections in that other country, whose two English-speaking regions are still caught up in a conflict nobody really wanted. But then we'll get there. We will surely get to 2020, so just let that be. We can, however, mention the following events in recent history to refresh the memory of some of us who like history. Back in 1955 in Montgomery, Alabama, seamstress Rosa Parks refused to give up her seat on that bus and to a white man, and she was arrested for violating the city's racial segregation laws. Of course, that led to the bus boycott, and of course, it gave birth to the civil rights movement. 4 years later, in 1959, the Cold War simmered, opening up a date for the signature of the Antarctica Treaty, which set aside Antarctica as a scientific preserve and banned military activity on that continent. 10 years later, in 1969, the first draft lottery in the United States of America was held because the Vietnam War was raging, and of course, America needed young people to go to Vietnam and fight. In 1988, World AIDS Day, as we already said, was proclaimed worldwide by the United Nations organizations. Today, we remember that day, and we raise awareness about HIV/AIDS as a scourge of the 20th century. In 1989, the Cold War, yes, it was in its last vestiges, but East Germany's parliament took a step forward. They abolished the constitutional provision granting the Communist Party the leading role in that country at that time called East Germany. And in 1990, the Channel Tunnel sections started from the United Kingdom and France met 40 meters beneath the seabed. It was the first time that an opening was created below the sea to link two countries in the, two different parts of Europe. What about the last one before we go ahead? 1991, the Cold War. Again, the Cold War, ending but always starting all over. The Ukrainian voters overwhelmingly approved the referendum for independence from the Soviet Union. Of course, we know that between 1989 and 1991, Latvia, Lithuania, and those other Scandinavian countries, those other countries up there in the north of Russia had already left the Soviet Union. So those are some of the events of the last years of the 1990s. Not so much for our concern today, though, but our concern for this moment is worrying about holidays, worrying about those feasts, eating right and well, and ensuring that our waistline does not increase in width, and reaching out to touch someone and to lift up someone less fortunate than ourselves. We are all agreed that food is any nutritious substance that people or animals eat or drink, or that plants absorb in order to maintain life and growth. But while food may be nutritious and helps plants, animals, and human persons rather to grow, there come times when that food becomes a problem to the human body in particular. Such problems come when the food taken in fails to help build, maintain, or fix the body, when the blood flow gets interfered with by some clutter, and the bones that ought to hold the human frame up break for one reason or the other. To fix the situation in general, professionals and specialists like Dr. Nagella and of course our great anchor Reverend Palm, who cook a lot of food on Thanksgiving Day, they take part and they take great concern and they show themselves to be fully involved in ensuring that we not just eat to keep life and to keep blood and skin together, but also to ensure that everything is in place. So in order to succeed, to successfully eat, we eat things that they call carbohydrates, proteins, fats, fibers, vitamins, minerals, and water. Of course, I prefer water to all those anyway, but I think they are all necessary for survival. And so as our topic suggests, healthy living, eating right, and not gaining weight, especially during the holidays, is crucial and vital in order for the human person to live a successful life. It involves not just eating to nourish the body, but above all to sustain the system, help prevent disease, and keep the body fit and trim and ready to do all of the other things that the human person is supposed to do on earth: work, go look for money, and of course, survive. But money should not be pushing you to your grave. As Thanksgiving slips into the recesses of human memory, our concern now is to help each other live better, healthier lives. And of course, if we fail in that venture, we might as well become a people totally out of shape, or people swinging between excellent health or very poor health, with all the attendant costs and risks and early death. Bleak as that may sound, hope is not lost. Humanity still has a great chance of saving itself from itself. Dr. Nagella, welcome. You tell us how to keep this frame in shape. Reverend Palm, you teach us how to cook turkey on Thanksgiving Day. So please, the ball is over to your courts, and please play as best and as safe as you can. Thank you.
Nia Song, that editorial was phenomenal as usual. I could listen to you all day long, all night long. Thank you so much for your faithfulness. And my beautiful sister-in-law, Dr. Nagella, is on. She couldn't make it last Sunday, understandably, but I've been making promises that I'll get on that program. I've never done that, but this time, because of this show, I have made a commitment that I am going to stop eating poison. I call it poison because that's what those things do to our bodies. So Dr. Nagella, you're welcome. Dr. Tazong will be joining us later on. Ania Song, as others come. The good thing is that we are streaming this live. So our people on the continent and in the diaspora are getting the message. They may not be able to dial in, but they are awake. That's why we put the show at this time. So we had to do a separate. Dr. Tazong specifically requested that on the air last week. And we are happy because Dr. Nagella is on tonight. And I have a lot of questions for her. Questions that are going to benefit not just me personally, but that will benefit our people. So Dr. Nagella, you are very welcome. The first question I have, and I think somebody had alluded to this on the forum, but, by the way, thank you so much for all your contributions, not just during this past 2 weeks, but over the years. You know, you have helped us with this topic a lot for the past 3 years, so thank you. But calories in our foods, calories. We know it is hard to cook beans with no oil. It's hard to cook ndole with no oil, even though ndole has a lot of peanuts in it. And we just talk about equang, we have to pour oil. Eru, oh my God, the amount of oil in Eru is sinful. So Dr. Nagella, let's talk about the calories in the things that we put in our food, the African food. Because a lot of the foods, African foods that we buy from the store, they don't even have the calorie nutritional information or caloric information on the labels. So we don't even know how much calories is in in 1 teaspoon, 1 ounce, or whatever. We don't even use 1 teaspoon of anything, maybe just salt. But you've done extensive work in this area. Please come to the rescue, Dr. Nagella.
Thank you so much, Mapam. Thank you so much. And thank you, Nia-san, for the wonderful editorial. As you can all tell, I look really disheveled because I'm actually just coming from the gym. And that's just...
Oh my God, I wish I was coming from the gym. No, you look beautiful.
That's just...
That's raw and beautiful you, the raw and beautiful you.
Oh my goodness. So I had to just join in and I said, regardless of how I look, I will do this. But I apologize again for not being there last week. I know you guys had a really good conversation and it's really critical, especially at this time of the year and as we're heading towards the new year, for us to take stock of our lives and try to just change for a lifetime, really. I mean, most people think of weight loss as a temporal thing or as a step towards the right direction, and then they do it for 3 months, 4 months, and then they stop. Yeah. I really want to emphasize that this is more of a lifestyle change. So it's not something that you can start and then stop, because the sad part about it is when you stop, it just, you gain a little bit more than when you started.
That's true.
So, during the holidays, since we're focusing on the holidays here, we really need to know what is, hold on one second, let me.
Yes, she's turning off something there, so we will be patient for her to come back. Yes.
I wish I could say I was coming from the gym.
My husband was actually...
That's right, that's right.
So.
No.
Okay.
Please take care of my brother.
I know. Patients call all the time. Anyway, so the point is to really understand our meals. It's a burden to start understanding how many calories are in each meal. I must say that. I have done weight loss management for almost 10 years now, training people on how to eat right.
Yes.
The bottom line is you really need to measure your plate.
Okay.
Regardless of what you eat.
Okay.
So the easiest way is to use a plate that is not more than 9 inches, maybe 7 to 8 inches in diameter.
Okay.
Use a flat plate.
Not a deep plate.
Not a deep plate.
Okay.
Your meals should never be more than 1/2 inch in terms of thickness on the plate.
Wow.
So easy rules to remember.
Very easy.
Yeah, and then divide your plate into 4 halves, so into 4 quarters, right? So your meats, which should be lean meats, the way we cook our meats should not be oil filled, but cook your meats, again, lean, mostly white, seafood, those are the things I recommend. That should take about, sometimes a quarter or even up to a half of your plate. So 3 ounces is what we typically say is typical for a 500-calorie meal.
Yeah.
And then your vegetables. And when I say vegetables here, I have a disclaimer.
Not Eru with a lot of oil, or Ndole with a lot of oil.
Actually, I am not against Eru. We are not against Eru. We are not against Ndole. To be honest with you, if you're going to eat Ndole, I would say make it a quarter of the plate. If you're going to eat Eru, depending on how you cook it, with very little oil, you can get up to half the plate with your Eru. But keep in mind, we're thinking 1/2 inch thick, right? So you're looking at about 2 tablespoons.
Are you kidding me?
Spoons of your Eru. Okay.
That's punishment.
No. Actually, the more I can say this, and I'm going to give a very clear example. My father-in-law, who is my father in the house here, used to be a typical consumer. I mean, he's an elder in the village, and it's Mapam's uncle, so Mapam knows him well.
Daddy, yes.
He used to be one of those people who would sit in the village and they would bring goodness.
Yes.
And he would, bulk it all down. But right now, his stomach is so much smaller now. If he eats more than I give him, he actually gets sick. So we can, all of us can condition our bodies to eat less.
Yes.
The more we eat, the more we expand our stomachs, and the more our stomachs get expanded, and the more we have to fill it up.
Yeah.
The less we eat, the less we contract our stomachs, the less our stomachs can take, and the less we can consume. That's the bottom line. So really reduce how, we don't need to eat much. The human body, I mean, there have been studies that have shown that people have lived minimally on 1,000 calories a day. I do not recommend that. However, you shouldn't, as a regular 200-pound to 250-pound, or let's say 150 to 250 pounds, on average, you should not be eating more than 2,000 calories.
Yeah.
If you're on the lower end, between around 150, you should be eating about 1,200 to 1,500 calories. Now, I don't want to emphasize too much on calories. What I have described to you in a plate, so you have a half of the plate being your vegetables, a quarter of the plate being your lean proteins, and the other quarter being your carbohydrates. And in this case, your fibrous carbohydrates. So not white rice, nothing bleached. I don't like anything bleached in my kitchen. So anything that looks very white, like bread, I stay away from, okay? So that plate typically is about 500 to 600 calories.
Okay, Dr. Nagella.
Yes.
Yeah, first of all, thank you for what you've done for Daddy. We are so proud of you. Thank you. Because he's going to live long. A lot of his brothers are dead. He needs to hang around for a long time for some of us, you know. But, you know, what you have described, some of us know that, but we don't do it.
Yes.
You talk about arrow. Let me tell you, I cannot eat arrow that doesn't have lots of oil in it. I would rather not eat it than because of the way our palates have been trained.
Yeah.
But I want to focus on the things I can do.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of things that you can grill, and thank God for the air fryers. You can grill this stuff without oil. So I have a question for you, because there are these thermic vegetables that they claim like you can eat a whole pot of cabbage and not gain weight, because it contains less calories than it burns. And the Mayo Clinic even puts obese patients on the cabbage diet. So let's talk about portion controls on those healthy or thermic vegetables, because for those people who are big eaters, trying to tell them to put a quarter of a plate or half a plate, people have to personalize these things, what works for them. Like me, I don't drink, I only drink water. I don't drink juice, I don't drink alcohol. And I started drinking coffee when my daughter was in New York, because New York, you can't be in New York without drinking coffee. But I don't even eat sugar. You know, I don't even buy bread anymore. But let's talk about this thermic foods, you know, this foods that, you know, like cabbage, like spinach or whatever. Let's talk about the portion, because isn't it better for somebody who cannot control their portion to eat a whole lot of cabbage or a whole lot of spinach or broccoli than to eat to try to do those portions and then start binging or cheating? Let's address that for those. We want to encourage, because some of our people just love to eat. Some of our people.
True.
So let's address that.
So one thing that I would say, and which I have had some experience with in terms of changing our palates to different types of meals, it's been quite unsuccessful. For most of the Africans, and I'm talking about Africans from West and East and South Africa who have been in my weight loss program, you change their meals, there's the tendency for failure is a lot higher than if you train them to reduce what they like to eat.
Okay, the portion.
So the portions. Now, it's good to diversify your meals. Like, typically now I make cabbage fufu, right? Okay. To make one bundle of cabbage fufu, you're probably going to need like one whole cabbage.
Wait, you say you make cabbage fufu?
Yes, there is cabbage fufu. There are all kinds of fufu now. I mean,
I didn't know that. I did not know that. Please,
so I thought you were actually referring to that. So for people who like to have their vegetables with fufu,
Mm-hmm.
There are actually opportunities now where you can take your cabbage, right?
Mm-hmm.
Boil it, drain it, and then blend it and make fufu with it.
Are you serious?
Yes. So it comes
That's
out.
something new.
Yes, it comes out just like your fufu. And the way to make it, to thicken it so that it gets the
texture.
the molded shape, is you can add things like ogbono in it, right?
Wow. Okay, yeah.
So you can add ogbono, or
To
there's
hold it together.
yes, to mold it together. And it actually comes out really well. However, as I said, to be able to make one typical Cameroonian or African bundle of fufu, you probably need one whole cabbage, right?
That's good.
Which ends up being about what, maybe 200 to 230 calories for a whole bunch of cabbage, right?
Oh.
Yeah.
It's good because you're getting a lot of vitamins from the cabbage.
Yeah.
It's less starchy, right? If you compare that to a bundle of, semolina, or a bundle of
pounded yam,
or pounded yam,
or fufu corn.
And when I talk about a bundle here, I'm talking about the typical African bundle, not my bundle.
I know the typical style. Wow, that is fantastic. That is amazing.
Yeah,
I never thought of making fufu from cabbage.
Yeah, you can make fufu from anything, to be honest with you.
If you can get the flour.
You can actually, in fact, there is a market now that's going for, a lot of alternative fufu flours. So there's cabbage fufu flour. There's plantain fufu flour, which is also starchy. It's also
I don't try that one. Some of them are mixed with cassava. If you look at the box.
Exactly.
So oat fufu has competition now, because oat fufu has been around.
Oh, absolutely. So there are all kinds of, so some people even use of course, the cauliflower fufu, the same concept. That's exactly what people are doing now. But what I am saying is, rather than do all of that, I think you can still stick with your small bundle, and I mean a cell phone size, an iPhone 8 size of your fufu, and really just enjoy what you know.
That's true. That's true.
So you have an option to either go with the newer, lower starchy carbohydrate fufus, or you stick with what you know and just reduce the amount.
Well, but before Niason gets to you, there was this guy, I think he said fit to fat to fit. I don't remember. Unfortunately, I get so busy and I rush on this show from church. I don't get a chance to look at anything. But this guy is on TV, and he gained weight on purpose just to help his customers. And then he lost the weight. I think he does. Is it keto? No, it's not keto diet. Is it keto diet? I don't know.
It could be keto. Keto is the low carbohydrate.
But he wanted to prove that somebody can lose weight from eating hamburgers more than somebody who is eating healthy food but eating large quantities of them. He did another studies where somebody ate the junk food, but they didn't eat too much of the junk food. And somebody was eating so-called healthy food, ate too much, and at the end of the day, the net calories for the person eating the junk food was lower than the person that was eating so-called healthy food. So is this safe to say it's all about calories, or it's calories plus types of food? I don't eat anything that's not organic. Even seafood, I only eat wild-caught salmon. I'd rather not eat. Even when I go to a restaurant, I make sure I find out what it is. So Dr. Nagella, does it boil down to calories or food types, or is this a combination? And then we're going to talk about exercise, because some of us don't like to exercise.
It's a combination of all of it, right? And it also depends on the time of your life. So the younger people can experiment a lot more than us who are hitting 50 and above, right? So
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm only 25. I have no clue what you're talking about.
It's all right.
So your metabolism kind of ages as well. So at a younger age, like the things I used to eat 20 years ago, I dare not eat them now, or at the quantities that I ate at that time. Let's compartmentalize this in terms of age. If you're somewhere between 40 and 60 years old, and I believe most of our listeners are somewhere around there.
Yes, exactly.
You should really be controlling how much you're eating. So as Mapam just mentioned, calorie intake, calorie outtake is the key. That's the fundamental baseline theory of weight loss.
Okay.
How much calorie you take into your system and how much calorie you can burn out.
Yeah.
You should always have a deficit if you want to lose weight.
Yes.
So that's rule number one.
Okay.
Rule number two is, oh, I hope I didn't get lost here.
No, somebody just joined.
Okay,
Yeah,
so rule number two is...
This is Dr. B. I'm so sorry. I forgot that today was my husband's birthday, so
oh, wow.
I have to jump
Happy
out in a minute.
birthday to your dear husband.
Happy birthday to him.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll let him know. Thank you. Sorry about that.
No
That's
problem. So we were just talking about, you know, what the basis of weight loss is, you know, in terms of what we eat. So really, if your metabolism has started slowing down, and you will know that for most people, you see that you gain weight a little bit more than when you were younger. You need to balance that with increasing your metabolism, right? By the kinds of things you eat and your kinds of activity. So if you were someone who was eating, you know, 2,000 to 2,500 calories daily, you have to cut that down now to 1,000 calories less, right? You have to control the amount of carbohydrates that you're eating. So you cannot just keep eating all the fufu, and then you have to work on the snacks. So the one thing that I tell all my clients is, yes, most of us say we have 3 meals a day, but in essence, we're having like 6 meals a day because we're snacking all the time. There's that nut on the side of the table. There is the corn and granite. There is the side cookie. All those things add up to a large extent to really add on the pounds. Not to talk of alcohol, you know. So I'm glad Mapam began the talk with, you know, the fact that she doesn't even drink at all. A lot of people do enjoy alcohol. I can't say you can cut alcohol cold turkey. I think that's tough to expect people to do that. However, if you just keep it in the back of your mind that alcohol consumption is a delay of fat burning, because your body sees a foreign object coming in and wants to take care of that first before it worries about burning your calories from your food. And I suspect that most of us are drinking alcohol and eating corn and granite or having something with it.
Fish roll.
No, fish roll. Basically, most of the time when you consume the alcohol is what gets burnt out fast, and the other things just get stored as fat. It upregulates your insulin in your body, and the bottom line is your fat. You start, you know, just maintaining a lot of fat in your system.
All right, Dr. Nagella, thank you so much. Nia Song, since Dr. B is on, you wanna let's allow Dr. Nagella to take a sip of water, and you wanna pose a question to Dr. Tazong?
Yeah, as she takes a sip of water, she should also listen to the question, because my concern is more about the African on the continent. Those people, especially those in the bushes now in some countries, who cannot get their regular meals. They come across anything in the forest and they eat. Then, of course, there is our traditional foods that we eat in Africa. How do we control these calories, these carbohydrates, and things that are contained in all these foods? So while Dr. Nagella takes a sip of water, Dr. B, please, you go ahead and start answering the question. She will join you instantaneously.
Okay, so Nia Song, I want to say that actually a lot of the plant-based nutrition is based off of our African diet. The problem is that we have started going more westernized, which is why we're having all these issues. I think last time when we had a conversation, I reminded most of us online that if we think about our grandparents, most of them hardly ever got obese. They were hardly sick, maybe 1 or 2 infections here and there, but they were in pretty good shape, and those people were strong until the very end. That is the prototype for living life. What I mean is that we should just think about what they used to do. They used to eat a lot of stuff straight off the farm. The problem is that we have modified those foods, and we have added a lot of other junk to them. We're adding a lot of oil, a lot more meat, and all those things. And I have nothing like, in fact, I love meat and all those things, but I've decided that I'm not willing to kill myself because of those things. I want to live a decent life. And if it means cutting back or giving up some of those things, that's what I'm going to have to do. And everybody has to get to that point on their own. You can't pressure people. But as people come to realize that this is not in my best interest anymore, I have to decide. I have patients who come in and they have things like gout. And every time they come in, they say, oh, there was this party and I had a flare. And I'm like, when are you going to get tired of having flares? I mean, until you get tired of having flares, you're not going to stop eating the meat. But you know what the problem is? The meat, the beer, and all that stuff, which is another thing I should have added to that conversation. For people that have gout, and it happens more commonly in men, meat, beer, foods that are high in protein are not your best friend. So when holidays come, we have a lot of people with flares of gout, and that is not fun. So again, you have to get to the point where you're sick and tired of being sick and tired and saying, you know what? This meat is not worth the pain that I'm going through on a regular basis. I'm going to stop. So I don't think that, for me now, I've gotten to a place where I don't want to be playing games with people as far as how they do stuff. I just want to give them the truth. I know that everybody is not going to get there at the same time. I know that everybody is not going to ever get to that point, but at least they know what it is. And as long as you can push yourself closer to the truth, you're in a better place. So with the eating and our African foods, we need to kind of go back closer to how we used to cook those foods. Less oil, less heavy-duty condiments like all the meat. I mean, you would see food, and most of what is in the food is meat and fish and all that stuff. It looks good, it tastes good, but your body doesn't handle it very well. And that's really what you have to decide. I used to cook, when we first got married, you know, we're all excited. I would cook this food and put all the things inside. And one time my husband just told me, he's like, man, this is so much meat in the food. And I was laughing. I was like, I was trying to make it look good for you. He's like, yeah, but this is just a whole lot of meat. You know, let's cut back on this meat thing. I'm happy that he said it because a lot of people would want to just keep eating. And he's like, no, let's back off from the meat. This is just too much. And I'm perfectly fine with that. And I'm looking now, my own dad, he eats this animal protein very sparingly. And I can see the difference in how he is doing. You know, he has never been an obese man. And so I have people in my background that I can look at and say, I saw what this person was doing and I can see the outcome. So we shouldn't press so much. Even the calorie thing, it is good to keep track of your calories because weight is really about caloric balance. It's how much you're putting in and how much you're putting out. But for me, the stress-free way to eat and not worry about your weight is to eat the right kinds of foods. The example that I give to my colleagues at work or to my patients is, if you have a child and, you know, what do? You try to make sure that you know who this child's friends are. If they have, if almost all of your friends, your child's friends are good people, you don't worry who they're hanging out with because you know they're in good company. You know, and so that's kind of how I think about food. If you pick the right kinds of foods and surround yourself with them, right there you decrease your risk of overeating and of loading up on calories. So it's true that when the holidays come, we're excited about the different things to eat. But we need to start deciding what price we're willing to pay for the food. And you can tell yourself, instead of me loading up on all this food over the holidays, maybe I'll spread it out. Maybe this week I'll treat myself to this one. Next week I'll treat myself to that one, you know, maybe once a week just to say, yeah, I'm not overdoing all of these things. That way you don't feel deprived or you don't feel like you have to eat every single thing you see on the table for Thanksgiving. And yeah, so I hope that I'm going along the lines of answering your question, but if I'm not, please help me so that I can get back right to where you want me to be.
You are doing the right thing. The other question I wanted to ask, because I believe that one has been satisfactorily answered, is about measuring food. We in Africa do not have those measures. And we know that we cook, we can eat a finger of plantain or 2 fingers of plantain, I don't know. And then you can eat a cup of, you can boil, prepare a cup of gari and something like that. Are those good measures for the African person who does not have these other sophisticated weights that we have in the West?
So we have, for example, with diabetic patients and so on, and this is not only for diabetic. We'll tell them, for example, if you look at your palm, a pack of meat that you should eat per day, your protein requirement for a pack of for a day should be about the size of your palm, you know. So we can use the palm, the thumb, a lot of things. If you look at just your hand, the measure of your hand, you can kind of figure it out. But I also want to say something here, because I think what I'm trying to put out here, especially to our African people, is that we have a whole lot to work on. It's just that we don't realize it. And because so many things have happened, we have lost track. My mother got obese. She's lost a lot of weight now, but her mother was never obese. And my mother told me something about how her mother was feeding her when she was growing up. Her mother she portioned her food. This woman never went to school. My grandmother did not go to school. Her mother died 3 days after she was born. So she was a child that really had a rough time, but she finally grew up. Now she has her own descendants, and that includes me. But my grandmother knew how to portion a child's food. She gave my mother a certain amount of food, and she said, this food is enough for a child your age. If you're still feeling kind of hungry, you fill up with water. It's not because she didn't have food, but she knew the right amount of food for a child to eat. We have lost it because we have walked away from the things that really defined us. And we're trying to copy other people's cultures. I'm all for copying good things, but I also want our African people to know that we have a lot of good things that are hiding in our backyard. We just need to go back and dig them up.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Dr. Nagella.
Just to confirm what she has so eloquently said, you know, that concept of stay you village girl as the city smells is really reminiscent of our people back home. You know, our Africans, as Nia Song, you mentioned, our Africans in the continent. So if we can just go back to our roots and eat from the soil, you know, eat away from the market, eat without all the spices, all the sugar, the oil, the salts, you know, it would go a long way. I think there are studies that have shown that the urban areas in Cameroon compared to the rural areas, there is a lot better health in terms of the population. If you take, if you subtract, you know, just different diseases, things like antibiotic-related diseases. But if you look at those people in the affluent, what we call affluent areas in Cameroon or in other African countries compared to the rural areas, the people in the rural areas are way healthier because, you know, they're very active. Unfortunately, all of these cars and things are going into our rural areas, but people used to walk to the farms, people used to eat right, eat directly from the farms. You know, when I go back home, I usually run to my grand aunt in the village because I know what she's going to make for me. She just harvests fresh beans from the farm, puts like just 1 teaspoon of palm oil that she holds dearly, and it's fresh palm oil, not the bleached stuff that has been totally converted to triglycerides and all kinds of things. But just 1 Maggi, and it tastes like heaven compared to everything you'll buy in the urban areas. So I can't reemphasize what you've just said. Let's stick to how we ate, you know, as rural people, and forget all the meat, soya, and, you know, and the chicken and the and the alcohol. I have to keep emphasizing this alcohol. Yes. You know.
Now, Dr. B and Dr. Nagella, there is also this social aspect of living that has taken over, especially as you were mentioning, the cities, the big towns. This thing has taken over, and almost every day there is a feast, there's a party, people cook so much food, and then, of course, people tend to eat because they see the food, and nobody watches their weight anymore. Nobody watches how much they eat anymore. So what can we on Africa Online do to bring our African brothers and sisters back in the continent to live the way they lived in the traditional good old days, or the good traditional old days?
So let me tackle this one, because I think this is really a problem that we have now, not only in the diaspora, but even back home. I think it's a little better back in the continent, but let me address it because the worst case scenario is in the diaspora. If you go to different states out of Washington, DC, out of Delaware, you know, the East Coast, and maybe out of California, most parties are over by midnight.
Not in Washington, D.C.
That's what I said. If you go to different states, if you go to different states out of Washington, D.C.
Okay, I didn't
So
get that.
we can learn a lot from what happens in states like Boston. I mean, in cities like Boston, Cleveland, Ohio, where I lived. I mean, we had a Cameroonian community there where our meeting started at 8, and by 11 o'clock, everybody was home.
That's good.
it's one of those things that is really an epidemic. It's really horrible now. You will never find me in a party after midnight.
I don't blame you.
It's almost poisonous to our culture, to our well-being, what we do nowadays. Most of the time, the meals are served sometime around night.
Yeah.
And people have to eat that late, and then they go to bed. I mean, most of the time they think they dance it out, but they go to bed and they sleep for 2 hours and they're back to work the next day. I don't know if there's a faster way to kill yourself. I don't know what else could be faster than that. You know, first of all, you're not eating right, you're eating late into the night, you're slowing down your metabolism, you're not sleeping right, you're not hydrating, because most of the time they're drinking alcohol.
Yeah.
And then you go to work and you expect to compete with your colleagues who are not doing that. It just baffles me how we expect to excel in a competitive community like this. So I think for Africa Online, one of the goals for Africa Online is to fight. I don't know how we can fight this, but it should be a general message to people who are hosting parties and weddings for halls to close down by midnight, 1 o'clock latest. In fact, one of the halls here in Delaware, one of the major halls, I heard the other day that the owner of the hall was going to start shutting down at 1 o'clock. And that was the best news that I ever heard. So honestly, we need to try to do that, because our community, we would probably increase, you know, the age limit of our community by, you know, 5 to 10 years by just changing that whole concept of staying up late at night and loving darkness. I just don't understand it. It's not something we grew up with.
That's true. That's true.
We have adopted.
You know, Dr. Nagella.
Yes.
I'm just injecting what you're saying right there. It's a big deal. And I live in South Carolina right now. And so I can say that I've kind of faced some degree of relief from that, because I lived in the Washington metro area for many years, and man,
thank you.
And you have your friends who are celebrating. You cannot not show up for their stuff. And but after a while, it just takes a toll on your body. It takes a toll on everything else. And I think the reason why it's happening, one of the reasons why, is because we come here, we are working so hard, we're trying to make things happen, and we feel like, I just want to go out and have some fun. I don't care if it costs me my sleep or if it costs me my health.
Yeah.
That's probably why, because we really don't have a balance here. At home, that was your everyday life. But here, we come in with the mindset that we want to hustle. I need to do something. And then you have people that are waiting on you. You have family members, you have friends, you have people that are depending on you. You cannot afford to not hustle. So when you work so hard, sometimes you feel like you have to play hard too. And then there's something too that people are forgetting. And I'm just thinking about it, because every time one of these things happen, it brings everything back to mind. We also have a lot of deaths that are related to this sleeplessness. Yes. A lot of people die coming back from parties or going to parties. And every time it happens, I'm just thinking, what is this thing we're doing to ourselves? You know, a good young life just got lost for no reason, because you wanted to go have some fun. And people are tired sometimes, and they're like, but you know, this is my friend's occasion. I have to be there. I have to go to support. I'm driving and I'm falling asleep. Or maybe I'm heading there, I'm already tired. I know on the way back, I'll be even more tired after some heavy eating and some drinking. And we still do it because we feel the pressure. So we need to start thinking about these things. We need to start finding ways, as you said, to shut down this late night stuff. It is not in our interest. It doesn't help us. It is not healthy. I know we think we're having fun, but we're paying a price that doesn't make any sense.
No, this is us. Yeah, Reverend Pam, you have something to say?
Yeah, but Dr. Ogoji just joined. And Dr. Ogoji, you're welcome. Your video is not on. I don't know if you did that on purpose. But I just wanted to mention something real quick, Nia, so if I go back to you. You know, what Dr. Nagella and Dr. B are saying is so true. However, even when the party shuts at 12 midnight, there are people that do after parties. So people leave that party and they go to somebody's house or to some secret. They go somewhere to continue to party till 6 in the morning or 5 in the morning. So it's a mindset, it's a habit. It's not something that is not just on the host because of all these after parties.
Yeah, what I wanted to ask our two guests is it related to dancing. If you go to a party, you finish the eating at 8 o'clock and you start dancing, and you want to dance your soul out until 2 a.m., is that good? Or how much sleep sleep do we each need to be able to say we are living healthy? Yes, please.
Yeah, so you know something? Your body never lies. Our bodies do not lie.
Okay.
By about, once it starts getting dark, that's what we call the circadian rhythm. Your body knows what it is supposed to do. I tell people, you don't tell your body to breathe. You don't tell your heart to beat. You don't tell your body to function. When you put food in, you don't even tell it how to digest. The food knows, the body knows what to do.
Yes.
The body works with the circadian rhythm as it goes with the day and night cycle. So the body knows when it's getting dark. It starts downplaying certain hormones and increasing others. Things like melatonin starts going up, and then other things start going down. That's why your metabolism also slows down, because your body literally is so smart that it knows how to save on energy. The body says, listen, I'm going to tone everything down so you can go to bed. In fact, I'll even lower your body temperature so that you can go to bed. So as the night progresses, somewhere around 2 or 3 in the morning, your body temperature, your core, what they call your core temperature, drops. And usually if you're awake at that time of the night, you'll find out you start having some kind of cold chills. You need a sweater or something. Because your body has dropped the temperature, it's saving on energy, but it's also keeping things cool and allowing you to sleep through the night. So our body knows what to do. We need to work with the circadian rhythm. Staying up to 2 in the morning, you're already interrupting a decent amount of sleep that you would have had. Because once you go to sleep, your body is going through cycles of sleep. And those different cycles of sleep have different effects on your body. One of the deepest sleeps, it helps you develop and store memories. It helps your brain do a lot of cleaning up. They've done studies and they've seen now when you're sleeping, in the deepest parts of sleep, your body is able to clean out those chemicals that cause Alzheimer's, the amyloid bodies. So there are a lot of things. It's almost as if your body is restocking, repacking, cleaning up, rearranging when you are sleeping, and especially your brain. So you cannot really cheat your body. We do these things, but the body knows what to do. And when you don't cooperate with your body slowly begins to malfunction, and eventually it's going to become a full-blown problem.
Reverend Pam? Oh, Dr. Ogoji, I see you there.
Let's give Dr.
Dr. Ogoji, welcome to the program.
You have a question for
Thank
Dr.
you.
Yeah, welcome, Dr. Ogoji, because I've been surrounded by 5 women or so, and I cannot get out by myself. So please join me to to make it a little even.
Oh my God.
Not that I hate them, no.
Lucky man. You're a lucky man with 5 women.
Thank you. So, what's your take on this late night eating and drinking and slowing down the body, as Dr. Nagella just said?
She said it all okay. At night, we're supposed to be sleeping and resting so our body can rest and get ready for the next day. If you don't sleep well at night, the following morning you develop a problem. You wake up in the morning, you'll be tired, okay? You feel sleepy during the day, everything will slow down.
Dr.
Of
Ogoji,
course,
adjust your camera. Okay, you have adjusted it. I was going to ask you to adjust your camera.
Of course, if you go to party once in a while and dance all night and go back and sleep the next day, that's okay. It's fine. But if you become an everyday something, then you have a problem with sleep, That's why we tell people with sleep problem that for you to solve problem with sleep, you have to have a regular schedule. Go to bed same time each day, wake up same time each day, and no matter whether weekend, night or day, weekend or weekday, try and maintain a steady schedule so your body can be used to what it's supposed to do. Of course, there's a condition called sleep apnea, which is a medical condition where people don't sleep. They actually fall asleep, but they don't sleep very well because when they are sleeping, they cannot breathe, they stop breathing, and they fall back asleep, and all night. They wake up in the morning, they become tired, restless, they can't function during the day. They have a lot of problems because of poor sleep, including diabetes, high blood pressure, insomnia, and long-term health consequences for not sleeping well. So that will tell you that if you don't sleep well, your body is in a mess. Yeah. So going back to the question, it is once in a while, you go for a weekend party, it happens once a month, twice a month, that's okay. It becomes a steady issue, then that's a problem. And from what I know, with the advent of with the new portable mobile system, mobile internet. People spend a lot of time on the internet at night, watching movies, do all sorts of things. Kids are going to bed by midnight, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. All these have a long-term consequence if you don't sleep in time and wake up in time.
Yes.
So that is part of the problem that we're having with our health. We watch movies late, we eat late, we dance late. So what is the middle of the road approach?
So just to add to what our fine doctors just said, this is really a conversation that's dear to my heart. The one thing that I would add, you know, in biology, they taught us two hormones, and I think most of us who did A-level biology, there were two hormones that were drilled into our heads called ghrelin and leptin. So the ghrelin, I remember they always called it the green light. So usually if you had ghrelin, if you think about it, your green light, it's the green light to eat. So if you had that hormone increased in your system, which usually comes from lack of sleep, usually if you have lack of sleep, that ghrelin hormone, which is the green light that always tells you to eat. So I called it the Langa hormone for most of us. So it made you always wanted to eat more. And then the leptin, which is the red light hormone that kept you away from eating, that always said it's a red light, you don't have to eat right now. That hormone is down regulated when you sleep well. Okay, so the more you sleep, the leptin, which is the red light, is actually decreased. The less you sleep, the ghrelin, which is the green light, is increased. So you tend to eat more. So, I mean, it's just basic biology. So if you tend to stay awake, you're going to eat more when you wake up. You know, sometimes for people, I know this happens to me personally. If I eat late at night, I wake up in the morning and the first thing I want to do is eat.
That's true.
That's exactly what's happening. So watch these late nights. They're not good for us at all.
Now, is that the same? Is that true with sleep? You lose sleep yesterday and then today you can sleep, make up. Can you make up sleep?
I think the doctors should address that.
Okay. Dr. Gochi, Dr. B, who wants to take it?
Well, sleep, we're required to sleep specific hours during a 24-hour period. Babies are supposed to sleep at least 12 hours a day, newborn babies, 12 hours a day. As we get older, the amount of sleep we need gradually decrease. I don't have the numbers, but standard, every adult should sleep at least 8 hours a day. Maybe 6 to 8 hours. We were 6 to 8 hours a day, but I would say 8. That means if you get less than 8 hours a day, that day you didn't get enough sleep, your body will all changes.
That's right.
And it is very, very wrong. Again, some people say you go to bed by 3 o'clock and sleep till noon the next day. That is not good.
Yeah.
That is definitely not good. That's why I say regular sleep habit is what we need.
Absolutely.
You know, when you come to see me and say, I have problems sleeping, I don't just prescribe medication and say, can you please go to bed by 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock? You choose your hour.
Yes.
Maintain that time. Go to bed at that time each day and wake up at the same time each day.
Yes.
Whether weekend or weekday. So regular sleep schedule is a key to better sleep hygiene and it's a key to good health.
Yeah. That's so true. I just came back from China 2 weeks ago and I was completely displaced. I was totally lost. My whole system was messed up. I mean, this was work related. I had no choice. So I came back and I was going to bed. By 3 a.m. I was awake and I would sit up and there was no way I could go to sleep, right? And then by 7 p.m. I'm dead tired. So I was very ineffective at work for at least a week. So that's exactly what you're doing when you go to these parties late at night. I mean, there's sometimes when we have, in fact, this weekend, if I had to follow the norms of the society, I would have been out last night, tonight, and on Friday night. So I just choose not to because at least the human body would fail at some point. So there are other things we can do, like maybe send checks or just send our own support phone calls. We don't have to be there all the time. You know, we can switch around and some other people represent us. We don't have to be there.
Thank you so much. Dr. B, are you still with us?
I'm right here.
Yes, so say something before we go to the top of the hour.
I think, you know, all the good doctors on the line have basically hit the nail in the head.
All right.
I'm hoping that just us talking is not enough, but people are going to start collecting information and using it to help themselves, because the power to change is in our hands. It is not in the hands of your doctors or anybody else. Most of the decisions that are going to affect your life and your health lie in your hands. So please take back the power and take charge of your health and your life.
Reverend Pam, it's getting to the top of the hour, and I believe that you have some news for us.
Yeah, yes. Let me acknowledge Reverend Solange, but your audio is not on. We see you, but your audio is not on. I don't think she can hear us.
Okay.
Her audio is not on, and you can just dial the number, you know, since I don't know what's going on with her audio. Before I want to pose some questions to each of our three doctors, and they can answer it after the top of the hour. For Dr. Nagella, I know exactly what you're talking about. I've been criticized severally for not attending events. Look, whenever I stay out late, my body's messed up the next day. And Saturday nights, I don't go out because I'm not going to be sleeping in church on Sunday morning. I'm not going to do it. It's happened for years. People criticizing me. I stopped those late nights. If you see me out, just know I'm ministering, or it's something that I am doing personally. But again, there's peer pressure. There are people that feel like they call it, I call him Jangi, or do me, I do you. You don't come to my event, I don't come to your event. It should not be that way. And not everybody's body can take those things. But the question I want to pose to you, what about people that work night shift? You know, I did night shift for 7 years. Nobody can pay me $1 million today. At that time, I was slim. I was 125 pounds. I ate cheesecake throughout. I didn't gain a pound. You know, for Dr. Ogoji, we need to talk about, now I don't want to just say men, because women drink alcohol too, some of them more than men. But I want you to address this, not just the beer, but also the palm wine for the men on the continent. Because a lot of the times the women on the continent don't even drink the palm wine. Last week we talked about kwacha. I think they call it chiboko in Zambia. We learned that last week. So the alcoholic drinks, the hot liquor, Dr. Goju, I want you to address that. And then Dr. Tazong, I want you to address dieting, all these dieting programs that are out there. Some of them work, some of them don't work, some of them work, and I think Dr. Nagella mentioned that when you come back with a vengeance. The fat comes back even more than when I want you to address all that, and then I'm going to do the announcements, and then we'll hear from Reverend Solange also, because she too has something to say about this weight thing. She has her own testimony to say about that. So, yeah, so you'll give her some airtime. I don't know if she can hear us. I don't know. I know her phone is on. She's on by phone, but also by video. But anyway, we are at the top of the hour, and we're going to be talking about taxes. Yes, it's tax season. And this is the first time we're going to be addressing this in Africa on Africa Online. You know, the first time we're addressing this topic. A lot of us don't know how to do our taxes. And a lot of us don't know what to ask the accountants to write off. A lot of us have businesses, but we don't even write off business lunches and dinners. We don't write off mileage and all those things. So Reverend Solange is an accountant. She's been an accountant for many years, both in the UK and in the US. So we are going to be getting some real education about our taxes, and hopefully we'll all be able to save money on taxes this year. We're going to not just talk about taxes, we'll also talk about 1099 independent contractors, for those people that are either working as independent contractors or employers like myself. You know, whether it's better to go with 1099 or W-2, what are the pros and cons of those things. So we are going to be shedding a lot of light on this. Again, this is a topic that doesn't get addressed in our community amongst us. And this is very relevant to the people in the diaspora, especially in the US. The people on the continent, some of it relates to it because there are now a lot of enterprises springing up on the continent. So some of our sisters will also be able to benefit from it. But we're going to be talking about that starting tomorrow. So before I hand over the airtime to Dr. Nagella to answer the question, Reverend Gabis, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. But
oh, good. Welcome on board.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. And so after the three doctors answer the question, I want you to weigh in on this weight loss program because you've had some experience with that. So Dr. Nagella.
So my question had to do with people who have alternative shifts like the night shift. Obviously, those are some shifts that need to be covered. So the society, recommends that we have some people working at night, especially those in the medical field. So we can't avoid that. However, you can change your clock. Anybody can change their biological clock and just put a little bit more effort to get your hours of sleep.
Okay.
So if you're working night shift, unfortunately, some people choose the night shift because it's an alternative for child care or for husband care or for any other.
And it pays more, the shift differential.
At home. You really cannot do that. You cannot do night shift and then not have enough time to rest. You need your sleep. So your biological clock would switch. It will take a little while for you to adjust to the night shift. And you have to adjust your breakfast. Your breakfast doesn't have to be in the morning. Your breakfast is when you break your fast,
yes, when you wake up.
which is the most important meal. And your lunch is typically when everybody is asleep. And your dinner is 3 hours before you get your full 6 to 7 hours of sleep. So the basic thing is that the most difficulty you're going to have is the fact that there's daylight when you're sleeping. So you have to find alternative ways of getting darkness in your room when you're sleeping. And don't use your sleep time for childcare. That's just something you have to make the effort to do. I don't have any other alternative ways of saying that. Snack when you're working at night. Don't eat, as our Dr. Tazong said, your body is slowing down when it gets dark. But hopefully, when you change your biological clock with this type of shift, your system would change again in accordance to that. But I wouldn't eat heavily, at nighttime. I have one of my clients who was actually working at night and lost a tremendous amount of weight because she placed a lot of effort in the meals that she packed when she was taking to work. So she ate a little less, she had a lot of veggies, a lot of peppers and, snacks that were healthy while she was working at night. And she came back home and made sure she had her sleep. And she was able to lose at least 2 pounds a week. So it's possible.
Awesome.
She wasn't 30 years old. She was 45 years old. So her metabolism had already slowed down quite a bit. So I think really just adjust your clock to if you were working at night, if you were working during the day.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Okay, Dr.
Dr.
I want to add to that, okay? Shift work is important in our society because people have to do it, as you just said. You have to, when you get to your house, you get the darkening curtains. Make sure the curtain is completely dark. You turn off all electronics. Turn off your phone. Turn off the TV. Close the door. If you have to take care of the children, say, this is your snack, this is your lunch, this is your dinner. Take care of yourself and go to sleep.
Yes.
If you can do that, that will go a long way to normalize your life as a night crawler instead of somebody who works during the day. Same thing, when I travel to Nigeria, usually once a year, for the first 5 days, I go home with melatonin. So when it's dark, you have melatonin to sleep. So I take melatonin tablet home. The first 5 nights, I try to take melatonin when I want to go to bed. After 5 nights, that normalizes my cycle, and then because about 8-hour shift when I go to Africa from here. I live in the West Coast. So that tells you that melatonin is all you need to adjust. Darkness increases melatonin, brightness, it goes down. You need it to sleep. So you just have to create your own darkness and your own type of life to meet your own type of lifestyle or job specificity. So for alcohol consumption and sleep, alcohol is one of those things that everybody want to drink.
Not me.
Alcohol, if you drink alcohol every night because you want to go to sleep, like any other drugs, I will guarantee you that if you drink 1 bottle tonight, tomorrow you will need 2 bottles, next you will need 3 bottles. The quantity goes up and up and up. And from the literature, the more you drink, you fall to sleep easily. By midnight, you wake up. You can't sleep anymore. And alcohol itself contains a lot of alcohol, calories, sugar. So if that's why you have pot belly, like me, you know.
You're telling us.
Anyway, so when you drink the alcohol, it goes and settles in the tummy and settles there. It's a lot of calories. You shouldn't drink before you go to bed. Of course, if you drink a glass of wine, a small amount of alcohol with meals, along with moderation, that's fine. So that's what they said. Again, if you want to drink with meal, it should be a glass of wine with meal, and a meal should be at least 3 hours before you go to bed. That is fine. I mean, in life, this life is so special. We have to take care of it. We have to do the things that we enjoy doing, but in moderation. So that's why we as medical professionals would say if you drink more than 20 drinks a week, you are an alcoholic for guys. More than 15, you're an alcoholic for women. But 20 drink, again, what's the drink? A drink is a shot of whiskey, 8 glass of wine, 8 glass of beer, and a typical glass of wine, which is about 4 ounces. That's a drink. So if you drink a whole beer, especially the beer we have in Africa is 3 times the size in America. A whole beer in Africa is almost 5 drinks. So if you drink 3 of them at night, you've got your drink for the week. So again, drink in moderation. You must drink, and you mustn't drink to go to bed. If you're drinking to put yourself to sleep, that's a problem. That's my take on that.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. B.
All right. So I'm going to throw in some of my spiel that I always give to my patients when they come in. I always tell them, please don't do dieting. I hate diets. Very strong words, right? I said the reason I hate diets is because diets are like one night stands. They may be fun for a minute, but you can't keep them. That's exactly what happens when people diet. I said, why put yourself through that? The first thing I want my patients, and I want everybody listening to this to understand, is that your weight is about behavior or habits. You cannot change those by magic. You have to work your way through them. So people coming, they want pills for weight loss. I'm going to talk about that too because that's part of the dieting thing. They don't want to control themselves, so they want the pills to control them. But a lot of those pills, you can't take them for too long. And some of those pills are very hard on your heart too. Things like the phentermines and stuff. They're good, but they are really not recommended to be taken more than 3 months at a time because they are stimulants. They are overworking your heart and so on. And I always ask my patients, you want to lose some weight and have some heart disease? What do you want? So the other thing is diet. The diet, what exactly is a diet? Those things that people call diet. And the reason I always tell my patients is, I'm like, how many times have you done this? Oh, I've done this multiple times before. So why are you still trying to do it now? Did it not work? Oh, it worked, and then I gained the weight all over. I said, do you know why? Because you never changed anything. You just put yourself under pressure, and once they took the pressure off, you went back to what you were doing before. Same thing with the pills. Same thing with gastric bypass. There are studies that have shown over and over. People do gastric bypass, they lose hundreds of pounds. Few years later, 5-6 years later, I think it's like a 60% weight gain. The 60% of those people fail gastric bypass. I mean, come on. They've taken out a chunk of your stomach. Why are you still gaining weight? Because those things are able to stretch. And, you tell yourself, well, they've taken out a chunk of my stomach, so I can just eat now. And then in the beginning, it's hard, but you force your way through, and then your stomach stretches some more, and then you really start going for it. And so all of those things fail because we are trying really hard not to do what we're supposed to do. You want to change your habits. You want to change your relationship with food. So I always try to tell people the first thing you want to do is keep an honest food diary. I call it honest. Anything that goes through your mouth, even water, put it in your diary. And I learned this because when I was in undergrad, I was very slim. I was like a size 2 to 4 at the time. But we took this class, I think it was kinesiology, and we had this lady there who was very fit. I can't forget her. I keep seeing her image in my face, you know, very fit lady. And she's like, I want you guys to do a food diary. These were all tiny. Most of us were slim, little, you know, maybe sophomore college students. So we kept a food diary for about a week or two. And I was shocked when I went back and looked at my food diary. I said, I cannot believe this. Just because you're slim doesn't mean you're doing the right things, and eventually it'll catch up on you. So it's about habits. If you start paying attention to what you're putting through your body and through your mouth, you're going to start realizing where you're making a ton of mistakes. And at that point, you need to decide if you want to change or not, because no matter what anybody does, pills, diets, gastric surgeries, or banding, you're not going to lose the weight and keep it off if you don't change your behavior or your relationship with food. So you need to start looking for time for when you tend to eat a lot. Maybe you're tired, you're upset, because there's also something called comfort eating. That's how a lot of people get in trouble. And it's a vicious cycle, because when you start doing that, when you get upset or you're bored and you eat, you enjoy the food, but a few minutes later, you kind of get upset with yourself because you know that you shouldn't have done that. And when you're upset with yourself, you go and get some more food and eat. And then you get even more upset with yourself, and then you eat a little bit more. And most of the times when we do that, we don't even choose the right foods. We eat a whole lot of fatty, sweet, and salty foods. So we need to identify our relationship with food. We need to identify the triggers of overeating. We need to start looking for the problem areas in our houses. One of my patients came in a few months ago, and I told him, I said, okay, let's just start with something really easy. I want you to get rid of all the sweet drinks in your life, the sodas, the juices, anything that is bringing in extra calories, and that includes the beer. It may not be sweet, but it has extra calories in it. And I said, let's just get rid of that, and your drink of choice should become plain water. If you can't handle plain water, why don't you infuse your own, maybe some lemon, lime, or cucumber, or whatever it is you choose, and drink it. This guy came back after 1 month. He couldn't do a lot of exercise because he had horrible arthritis in the knees. And he had lost 10 pounds just by giving up those sweet things. And that is not a diet, because you can literally live without all those sweet drinks. So the goal with losing weight is not dieting. Please don't do diets. Diets are very restrictive. Human beings, I notice by definition, don't like to be told do not. When you tell somebody not to do something, they really start having the urge to do it. Right. So when you tell yourself that I don't eat this and don't eat that, what happens is you just really just want to do it. So stop saying I will not. Just say I've chosen not to eat this. It's not like somebody's forcing me. And that's what a diet does. You can't have this, you can't have that, don't do this, don't do that, you must have only this. No, say I have chosen voluntarily for the sake of my health to leave this one alone for now. Or maybe down the road, I may not even want it anymore, but it's a choice that I've made, because when we also feel like we're choosing, it helps us stay more compliant. So that's why you're doing a lifestyle change. You're choosing to pick the healthy foods. You're choosing to walk away from things that are not contributing to your health. You're choosing to walk away from things that are giving you useless calories. But this is a conversation you have to have with yourself on a regular basis. And after a while, it's going to become a habit. So you want to start by surrounding yourself with the right kinds of foods. And I put out some resources on Africa Online. A lot of them do it, like the plant-based, starting off with the plant-based. I know a lot of people get nervous when we talk about plant-based. You don't have to go all the way if you're not able to or if you don't want to, but a majority of what you're eating should be plant-based. So you can go in there and start changing the things that you have in your pantry. Stop buying all the pre-packaged, pre-made foods. They have destroyed a lot of the quality of that food. I don't care what else they add in it. The original food is what works best for your body. You eat straight from the soil. You keep your useless calories down. It doesn't mean you cannot have a treat every once in a while. You make sure that your drink of choice is water. It not only enhances your metabolism, it keeps you hydrated, and it's also 0 calorie. So there are just so many easy ways to work on losing weight without dieting. Because if you do a diet, I guarantee you're going to fail. Because as soon as you're done with the diet, first of all, by definition, you cannot keep a diet forever. A diet is a short-term thing. What is your plan after the short-term thing is over? Lifestyle change.
Thank you so much, Dr. Tazong. I think Sister Solange is on now. She was having some technical difficulties. Reverend Solange, you have, just wait in for a few minutes before we go back to our guest. But once she weighs in on her experience with this weight loss thing and eating habits, I have a breaking news to share with all of you. So,
all right. We're all ears.
Yeah, right. Inquiring minds. Okay, Mama, it's all yours. We can't hear you. Your audio.
Solange?
Your audio. We cannot hear you. Okay, no, we can't hear her. I don't know what's going on. She's been having technical difficulties. We cannot hear you.
Oh.
We can't hear you. We can't.
We cannot hear you. We can't hear you. Okay, let me
hear you. We cannot hear you.
We're having challenges, and she's not muted,
Well, that is too bad.
Okay, breaking news.
All right. Well, the breaking news, I just texted that we can hear. Okay, this will encourage Dr. Nagella and Dr. B. I mentioned to Dr. Nagella earlier, and Dr. B, I have chosen to give up cornbread.
You make it by yourself.
Yeah, no. But
I thought you bake it yourself.
Yeah, Dr. Nagella has been trying to get me on her program. Like last week, I don't even know how I ever gained weight. I guess processed food. No, I know. 20 of these pounds came from Supreme Pizza from Pizza Hut. Every Sunday when I left church, I made a stop there. I have stopped. And cooking, I can still feed people, but I don't have to eat as much. But anyway, so the breaking news, guys, that 1 year from now, I intend to be 50 pounds lighter. And I'm saying this on the air so that you guys can hold me, to hold my foot to the fire. I need to go back to being a mannequin. I'm a size 14 now. I intend to be a size 7-8 by this time next year. And I'm going to do it the right way. So again, I just want you guys to know your labor of love has not been in vain. And I'm not the only one that's going to make this decision. Some people might not announce it on the air, but I'm announcing mine so I can be here for accountability purposes. That's all. For accountability, I just announced my size on social media. So I'll be proud to come back and say, yes, I'm size 7-8. I don't want to go back to size 5, but that's the breaking news. So, Mama, can you hear us now? We cannot hear you. Your audio is not on.
We cannot hear you.
Yes.
We need to work on that because you're going to be the one, our special guest next Sunday. And, but I don't know why we can't hear you. Your phone might be on. Your phone is not even muted. Your phone is, I don't know what the problem is, but we'll test it some other time. So I want our expert. I want to hear feedback from all of you about that breaking news. I just did it.
Okay.
Well, we'll start with the man and then we'll go to the ladies.
Okay, let me say this, okay? That's a very good one, it's choosing, so you're probably going to work hard to do that.
Yes.
But I want to compliment more on what the last speaker just said. Weight loss is a habit, okay? There's a big scam about weight loss, which I want to share online, a big scam, a money spinning scam.
Yeah.
Every time there's a fair on weight loss, dieting, people come around and say, come, you're going to lose 20 pounds. You pay 1,000 francs, or you pay 1,000 naira, or you pay $500 for a 2 weeks program.
Yeah.
All those programs, if you listen very well, they make you purge. You poop and poop and poop and poop and lose poop. Yeah, I'm not kidding. You lose poop and you lose water. You lost 10 pounds. You buy more product. They leave. You gain back the weight. Okay? So that's a breaking news. So people should be careful all these rapid weight loss programs they go. It does not work.
It doesn't.
Weight loss is a lifestyle you have to do continuously and decide to do that. Just like exercise. People go to exercise and they lift 200 pounds, boom, 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 and build muscles. Yeah, pop, they rupture their shoulder. That's it. I tell every of my patients, if you can lift just 20 pounds, even 15, till you are 70, 15 year, you're gonna be strong. Even 10, just do 10 pounds every day, 20 of them. Till you are 70, your arm will never get weak. There's no arm to start doing 70 pounds, then you rupture your shoulder, you can't do anymore. So slow and steady and consistency is the key to weight loss and lifestyle changes. That's why before you get bariatric surgery, you must lose weight on your own for about, you have to lose the same amount of weight before they give you the surgery.
That's right.
They are trying to train you to know that this surgery is not the answer. So if you cannot lose the same amount of weight, you won't get weight loss surgery.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's hear the role of exercise, because Dr. Nagella sleeps in the gym.
And that's where I was going. Yeah, she just came from the gym to the program this morning, isn't it?
She just directly from the gym to the program.
I just came from the gym and I quickly put some aloe vera on my face before I got on. So yes, Dr. Tazong and Dr. Kugoji, you guys have just nailed it. The exercise part of it is fantastic as well. So I'm glad that we spent 80% of the time here talking about nutrition.
Yes.
Because nutrition is the bigger part to play in our weight loss program. But a very essential part of it as well is the exercise. You know, you have to combine your cardio, your strength exercises, and your body functional exercises. You have to combine all three of them for a full body workout. You can change them up, you know, for day one, you work on your upper body, for day two, you work on your lower body, day three, you work on your abs, and then you combine that with cardio. And as we age, you need to learn how to do functional exercises, lots of stretches and yoga. So it's really critical for you to be able to burn at least 500 calories every time you work out. That again is adding to that deficit in calorie and calorie outtake that you have, because it's going to continue, especially if you add strength into your cardio, you're going to continue burning calories throughout the day for a longer time. So make sure you exercise. I mean, it's a functional activity. We cannot do without it. You know, it helps us have good bones. It helps us build strength. It helps us become functional, which is just something we need to do. So a lot of people don't like to exercise. That is really bad news.
Can we just dance? Can we just dance in the house? That's the exercise, right?
You can dance. In addition to Dr. Pam's breaking news, I'm going to put her on the routine.
Yes.
She has to do whether she likes it or not. I mean, it's part of the game. She just has to do it. So the more exercise we do, the better it is for our weight loss, better it is for our metabolism as we age. So it's critical.
Okay, Nia Song, we are down to 4 minutes.
Yes, we're down to 4 minutes, and I want to start taking the round of the table to see what people have to say as their final and in politics they'll say closing statements, starting with Dr. B. Tazong.
So I'm just going to say, I mean, I think everybody has put in a whole lot of good information out there. I just want to say something to everybody who's listening, that wisdom is not what you know, it's what you do with what you know. What you know is simply knowledge. Wisdom is how you act. So the Bible says that a prudent man sees trouble coming and they walk past it, and the fool walks right into it and they're punished. So it means that both of them had the same information, but one person used the information to their benefit and the other person chose to play the fool. So when you hear this information, real wisdom is not what we've said today, it's how you apply that information. There's something that Dr. Nagella said, and I always tell this to my patients, exercise is very important. It helps you, like she said, build muscles, it builds your endurance, it builds your strength, it improves blood flow to all the parts of your body, it helps with stress, it helps with anxiety, it helps with depression, each of those things. If you're feeling kind of down, go out and run, you will be amazed. Even with your memory, if you're feeling frustrated, you're studying and you can't get things through, go and work out. It helps with your sex life, for those who are very interested in that aspect. I know a lot of young men would like to hear that. So if you're looking for a plus, that's something you want to do.
And women.
But I want to say that, you know, the bigger part of weight loss is really about nutrition, because most people cannot out-exercise their calories.
That's right.
The only people I always challenge that can eat whatever they want and get away with it are Olympic grade athletes, because they work out like crazy. Somebody like Michael Phelps, he used to burn about 12,000 calories a day. He used to burn thousands of calories a day. So he would eat like a 12,000 calorie meal. And I mean, that is crazy, but he could get away with it because of what he was doing. But even him, the moment he stopped doing that kind of exercise, he was going to start packing on the pounds. So that is just to say that some people will say, well, I'm working out, I'm burning out 1,000 calories so I can eat 3,000. You're just messing up the work that he did in the gym. It's important to work out. It's really important, but it is more important to pay attention to what is going through the gate called your mouth.
Yeah.
That way you can keep your weight off and be in good and top shape all the days of your life.
Amen.
Okay, Dr. Ogoji.
Well, health is wealth, okay? And for you to be healthy, you have to live a healthy lifestyle, which includes good nutrition, regular exercise, and good mental health.
That's right.
So all this cannot go together without exercise, without minding what you eat. A popular saying that eat your food, eat a lot of food, how they say it?
Eat like a
you can treat your food like medicine.
Yes.
Okay, help me out, please.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you eat your food like medicine now, you're gonna eat. I mean, if you eat too much food now, you're gonna use medicine to take care of them later. You better just eat as much as you want now, so you don't eat a lot of medicine. Period.
Okay. Dr. Nagella.
Yeah, so the one last thing, we've said it all, but surround yourself with like-minded people. So, you know, your husbands, your children, make sure you guys do things together, eat together, work out together. And then one last thing, which Dr. Tazong actually emphasized as well, it's my last statement. If you exercise and then you come back home and you eat bad food, it's like going into the gym and emptying out your stomach and then coming back home and filling it all up with trash. So basically you're wasting your time. So they both complement each other. So you have to work together, surround yourself with good, like-minded people, stay away from parties, sleep well, hydrate well, enjoy life, and it will go away.
Reverend Pam.
No, I just want to thank all our guests, you know, and again, I really thank you guys, because I'm going to benefit from these two shows. I just made a commitment, and I want all of you to hold me to it.
Yes.
You know, Dr. Nagella, you'll be very impressed. You know, so I thank all of you. And as Sister Solange we couldn't hear her order, but she's going to be tackling the taxes and the 1099 and all the accounting stuff, you know, for us starting tomorrow. Niason.
Thank you all so very much, Reverend Pam, Dr. Nagella, Dr. B. Tazong, Dr. Ogoji. It's been a great show today. I thank you all very much. And please do enjoy the leftovers of your Thanksgiving. And goodbye till next week.
Are you kidding me? We're not supposed to be eating anymore. All right, everybody.
Yes, thank you all.
Bye.
And bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.